Hey, what's going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another episode of Lord of the Rings Home. Today, I want to do a little bit of I guess it's a little bit of a roster review. I want to discuss some of the points around Guild Raid Chapter 2 as we kind of go into Guild Raid Chapter 3, which is set to release next Tuesday. And this week, my guild, I'm used to saying alliance for Marvel Strike Force, we just hit over 17 million for Chapter 2 for the first time. We got about 17.3 million, I think, somewhere around there. So we just barely cut through. That being said, we had 3 people that didn't participate in Guild Raid Chapter 2. So hopefully things are better next week. But I want to talk about this discussion of tall versus wide, because I want to take a look at some of the scores and what kind of level range that you're seeing for 100k scores for Guild Raid Chapter 2, because it is a little bit harder than Chapter 1. And, you can't RNG your way out, really, out of Chapter 2 to get those points. And for people who might be struggling to clear Chapter 2, kind of want to know, as us free-to-plays, anyways, are starting to get, 5-6 star characters from just shard farming and things like that, maybe it's worth investing in some of these others, because I am. And I want to talk about the ones that I'm starting to level up now, that things are starting to change a little bit in my roster. So if you're ready to go, let's boil this down. Okay. And one thing that I have to say is I hope I can still see it, actually. One thing that I really hate is how slow the interface is here. Actually, it's loading a little bit quicker. Let's go to Chapter 2. And they really need some better mechanics. Oh, wait, isn't it not even going to let me... Oh, you're joking. It's not even going to let me click on this? Can I do guild... the current... So it shows the current raid, like the one I just did for Chapter 1, but won't let me... Will let me click Guild's Best? It won't even let me click on Chapter 2. Even though we have it unlocked. We've done it before. Okay, well, this is something that really needs to change. Honestly, I don't know why we can't go back and look at things. I think you could do this for, the first 24 hours, and then after that it shuts down, I guess. This is something that I actually didn't know until now. So I was going to go through my leaderboard for Chapter 2 and kind of share with you guys the different 100k scores that my alliance and my guild has been able to do, but I can't go back and check that. So that's a bit of a problem. But I'll so many quality of life things that this game needs. Not to mention that, for guild leaders and captains, it's such a pain in the ass to there's no way to easily see how many points each member has. And I have to really stress this because this is actually starting to bother me a lot more as someone who's trying to help, tally up scores. If you're someone who's in a more involved guild, let me know in the comments down below what kind of method that you use that's best for you in terms of being able to, because, I don't know where I am anyways, but, down here, right, my score should start to show up. I don't want to add up everyone's individual score. I would love it if they just had some way or some other tab that said, this person got this much total score for that chapter. Not have to add up 5 different attacks, as I scrolled down the table. Because this is what I did for Chapter 2 to figure out that we got to 17.3 million and who was active and not. I had to spend almost an hour writing this down individually and writing down people's names. It's horrific. It's an absolute goddamn mess. And that's super frustrating that I can't go back and look at it. So that was a minute and a half or 2 minutes killed that I can't get back. And my apologies, everyone. So let's go into my roster then. What am I currently doing? And I'm glad that they kind of fixed, after a while, they fixed the whole roster sorting thing. And so now it does show by power and not by shard count. So that's the default organization scheme now, unless you do otherwise. But so what I've started to do very slowly, and I want to kind of go at the bottom of my heart list, which is mostly here. I've started to farm. I farm a lot of characters. I already went through which characters that I farm in a previous video, whereas the majority, 90% of my energy is going towards shard farming. And the characters that I'm farming right now typically contain elves, dwarves, and a few other characters like Rohan that I'm still farming, Eowyn, Eothane, and the Haradrim as well, actually, Yeftu and Robel. So recently, I started getting a 6th star for my elves, Naramiri, Leliel, Lomian as well, and a 5-star on my elves. Sorry, a 5-star on my dwarves, Philly and Keely. And I'll probably get some stars soon on Arwen and things like that as well. So, and I've been farming. I went back to start to farm Guild Chapter 1. It's such a bane. I guess once it's done, it's done. But yeah, I've gone back to farming Guild Raid Chapter 1 for Pippin. Because these sort of 7... How many characters is this? Like 6 or 7 characters that I am kind of leveling simultaneously because I think they're all going to have value for Chapter 3. And they're all characters that I'm probably going to continue to use in Guild Raid Chapter 2. So Philly, Killy, Lomian, Leliel, Naramiri, Pippin, and Arwen at a variety of different levels. There's some other ones I would like to include at a later time, like Fro and Gimli and things like that, but they're not farmable right now. And so what's not in this video necessarily is my Isengard. They actually score 100k on Chapter 2. At level 5, they're about 3/4 star, G5, and Ugluk is the highest tier at level 50. But you don't actually, that's the great thing about Isengard in Chapter 2, is you don't need them super high to perform really well. And so that's a very good team if you do need a 100k score team for Isengard. You don't need to take them up super high, but if you have like 4+ star, that's great, and you should be able to do that. And so that's not too bad here. But stats, we've gone over star ranks and stats and how valuable that is. And I want to show this with Feely. I recently got him to 5-star. So he's level 35 right now. It doesn't cost much to take a character to like 30, 35. It's pretty cheap. It's like 40k, I think, to get him up there, 40, 50k max. And I want to kind of show you as I level up, because I'm 5-star, and I'll do this with Leliel and Lomian, or Leliel at least, and Naramiri, and like the different levels, and look at the stats. And I want you to pay attention to the stats here, because there's certain levels that give more of a boost than others. So far it's pretty static. And then 40 gives a pretty, you might not have noticed that, but to go from 6,900 health to 7,359, that's 450, which is a larger jump than 40 to 41, for example, which is like 180. So you're getting almost 3 levels, 2.5, 3 levels worth of stats from that level 40. There's a few other ones, and it's kind of weird. It's not consistent. It's not like every 5 levels, but I think it's 43. Yeah, so 42, 77, 40 health. 43, 82, 23. So it's almost 500 HP again, but at level 43. So this one's a little bit weird. So if I'm starting to build wide, 43 might be the level that I would want to take them. You could, of course, first take them to 40, but you're going to get a pretty large stat bump at 43, which is good as well. 44, pretty static. 45 is actually pretty static as well. 46 is pretty static. And then 47, there's another big jump. So you notice they go from 8868 to 9381. Almost, it's basically another 500 health. So why are these odd number levels, doing this? I don't know, but it's 40, 43, 47, and as you go up, it's probably a little bit more. 48 is a bit static, 49 static, 50 is another one. So 40, 43, 47, and 50, these are your different kind of threshold ranges. So if you're trying to level up characters consistently, like, maybe just bring them all up together, for example, these are the kind of different ranges where you're going to see the most amount of stat gains. And then 51, 52 is normal, 53 is normal, 54, 55. So after 50, there's nothing until 55. And then 57 is pretty static, 58, 59, and then 60 is a very large jump. So you have 40, 43, 47, 50, 55, and 60. For some reason, in the 40s, there's like multiple stages where they jump pretty significantly in the stats in terms of what's worth it. Now, that's a 5-star character. It's going to be more on a 6-star, and that's why I'm starting to go a little bit more wider on my roster. I'm going to take Naramiri for comparison's sake here. I think for Chapter 3, I am going to want Naramiri leveled up. I've talked about Naramiri and Leliel at length in terms of their value in an elf team as well, because of their healing, their bane cleansing, their tanking, their stealthing, all that kind of stuff is really important to this next chapter. And I kind of want to take a look at the stats again, but I want to go to these major kind of stat points, right? So it's 43. So again, you're seeing, for a healer character, 150, over 600 health on a single level up for a 6-star character, and then 47 another 700, and then 50, which is like 1,000 right here, almost 1,100 hit points at level 50. So some crazy stat bumps. And then, of course, one day when I can... It's XP. My biggest crunch is XP. So going into next week, I think what my plan is, because I'm prepping for Chapter 3, I'm going to go with my highest star characters first. I'm going to take Leliel to probably 43. I'm probably going to take Naramiri to 43, and I might take Feely to 40, just for now. Lomian, he's good for Chapter 2, but I don't know if he's really broadly great across the board for Chapter 1, and probably not for Chapter 3 either. So I do have a little bit of a priority list. When Arwen gets some higher star ranks, I'll be doing her as well. Luckily, she's already 50, so that's a good start. But sadly, star ranks matter so much in this game in terms of what kind of value that you're going to extract. You want the best bang for your buck, or in this case, best bang for your XP. And you're going to get that by leveling up characters that have high star ranks. You know, I can't stress that enough, that I would rather level up a 6-star character than a 3-star character that's going to get half as much or less in terms of my stat gains per level. So that's my plan right now. I have Robel and Yeftu at 50, my Haradrim are all at 50, Eothane's at 50. Eomer, I did get him to 60 recently, actually. He was my last level 60 character. I don't regret it. Eomer is a great standalone character, and I've got significant value out of that. So obviously you do want to focus on your... If you have any 6 or 7-star characters, I would work on them, but I want to kind of slowly bring up my entire roster not my entire roster, my top 25 characters that I plan on using for raids, and kind of bring them to a very good spot where I'm satisfied that I can get, you know, at least 100k, or, you know, in this case 500,000 per chapter, so that I can unlock, because it seems that's the trend. So 470k is what you need to get from Chapter 2 to Chapter 3, and then my guess is it's going to be the same from Chapter 3 to Chapter 4. So that'll be a good idea when we start working and we start playing Chapter 3 next week, for those of us who are able to do that, to kind of keep that in the back of our mind. How hard is Chapter 3 going to be compared to Chapter 2? Is it going to be more along the lines of the point expectations of Chapter 1, or is it going to be less RNG? Is it going to be more consistent? You know, easier or harder than Chapter 2? Those are all things that we're going to find out next week. But in terms of my preparation, this is what I'm doing. I'm focusing on some of my lower level characters, but I'm kind of building them up together. So I want to make sure that my highest star rank characters are being used first, and particularly these ones that have healing in it, because I know that Chapter 3, and I might even take a look at Pippin, a few additional levels, maybe 43 for Pippin, because I know that that's something that we need to pay attention to, because a lot of the point scoring mechanisms come from stealth, come from healing, surviving, and tanking, and that kind of stuff. So all that's going to be really important. So Pippin, Naramiri, Leliel, probably on the top of my list. Feely, though, because he's a healer, and so I might extract some points there with the Feely-Keely combo that I'll need to have for that. So that's kind of on my agenda right now going into next week. What's yours? How are you planning for next week's raids? Are you in a guild that are able to do or possibly get into Chapter 3? I do want to say this with the caveat that since my guild is just scoring above 17 million, I suspect that while I know that I'm not, you know, we're not the best guild in the game, I suspect that does mean that there's a lot of guilds that maybe aren't reaching 17 million on Chapter 2. So this might be something that is rolling, of course, week on week. But, you know, keep an eye on the channel, because I'm going to have some gameplay footage when I'm able to do that. That's hopefully going to be probably next Thursday, because we start our raids on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, Chapter 3. That's my expectation. So there might be a stream for that as well. So keep an eye out on my Twitch as well, Boilon89, twitch.tv/Boilon89. Otherwise, keep an eye on this channel, because I'll have some footage on here as well when I get there. So that's the end of this video. Have a great Friday, everyone, and until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.